As we get into the modern period, then, we see a change in orientation for how people start thinking about themselves, where power structures come from, how knowledge is gathered. Like we said in the Middle Ages, knowledge, power, cultural structures all center on religious ideas. As we enter then the modern period, science becomes a tool that people are using to get at the nature of truth, without necessarily the same reference to authority. Non-religious power, whether it's the economic power of the emerging mercantile class, or whether it is the power of democracy or a constitutional monarchy, starts to fill this place that religious power filled at the time. Greek philosophy and ideas are resurrected during this time, and philosophy starts to influence everything from science to the way people think about themselves. And it's a way that's separate from the scriptural explanation we might have seen in the Middle Ages, when philosophy, art, and self-understanding were dominated by religious thinking. When I teach this class in person, these are two questions that I bring up for the class, but they might be worth thinking about for you as we try to imagine the kind of questions that became very pertinent this time. Here's one question we might bring to mind. Do you think that observation with our senses, taste, touch, especially our eyes, our ears, represents reality as it is, or just reality as it appears to us? And what's your reason for thinking this? During the modern period, as science is on the rise, scientists start to realize that the way we represent the world relies on our eyes, the representation we can make to ourselves by observing the world with our senses. What's your general thought about this? Would you be more likely to be someone who said, okay, my eyes see the world, my ears hear the world. When I touch the world, it feels a certain way, or anything in the world. But that's just the way things feel and look and sound to human beings. And when you study science and our observation of the world, all you really learn is what the world is like for humans. Or do you think that the way the world sounds and feels and looks is the way the world is, and that our senses are an objective tool for getting at reality? Notice that the scientific question and scientific observation doesn't really answer this question for us. This discussion can also bring up an issue relative to how we experience art. Have you ever encountered a work of art that represented the reality around us in a way that seemed more true than direct experience of the world? Maybe you have an experience with a song, or a movie, or a theatrical production, or a painting that somehow brings out a truth for you of the nature of reality or the nature of our world, even more than would be possible by the senses themselves. It's worth thinking about, and it's a question that will help to contextualize what Immanuel Kant is up to with his philosophy in general, and also his philosophy of art.